Hello guys, it's SkyPikmin and today I'm presenting to you a video on iRacing. So the goal of this video is to explain to you what questions do I ask myself during a race to get a good result in the end, and I hope that it will help you to get good results yourself. So let's start at first, even before the race starts actually, because you already have things to think about. For example, before the race even starts, usually in racing games, you have the qualifying session, and according to that, you can already plan your race. For example, if you do a decent quali lap but not your best, maybe you can focus on the guys ahead of you, as you can probably be faster than what you've been in quali, so maybe faster than the guys that qualified in front of you. And if your quali lap was the best of your best laps, like you don't think that you can be faster, then maybe it's a bit better to focus a bit more on what's behind, at least for the first few laps. So let's get started. To be honest, I don't really know what the guy in P1 did at the race start there. He slowed down quite a bit, but that's okay. I slowed down not to get any penalties too. Here, so because of the weird strategy of the guy in P1, we lose P2, but that's all fine. For that race, I knew that I could be faster than P1, as I didn't do a very good lap in qualifying. So my main focus was to get P1 basically in that race. Here you can see we don't have a very good start as we lose a position obviously, but there's no problem. It's a 9 laps race, so plenty of time to get back and try to pass the guys in front. So basically in that situation you have a bit of time to assess what you can do during this race and to like have a bit of reflection about the track, for example. So we're at Daytona road course. There are, in my opinion, two main overtaking opportunities. Turn 1 and the long straight after the bus stop coming to the finish line. Some will say it's only one opportunity, but for me I count it as two, because there's the fact that you can pass before the finish line and the fact that you can pass after the finish line. So here the guy in P2 makes a mistake, so that will make things a bit easier for us as he picks up a penalty. And so we are in P2, and now the goal is to catch back to P1 obviously. As I know that I can be a bit faster, I am focusing on him, but I also have to be careful about the guys behind, because as you will see, someone will try to pass me in that corner. I just block the inside and he goes wide, so no issues for me at all. And as now we have a bit of clean air, we will start to climb back and catch some time to the guy that is in front. So as it is a 9 laps race and we already did 1 lap, and as I counted, there are for me two main overtaking opportunities. That leaves about 16 overtaking opportunities for us. I know I won't be able to use all 16 overtaking opportunities obviously, but that's something that you should keep in mind. And also the fact that the last overtaking opportunity is the most important obviously, because if you pass at the last moment, then there is no way for the other guy to get back in the lead before the finish line. So at that time I'm a bit far to be able to try something. So what I'll do usually is just try to analyze what my opponent is doing. Basically, from these first 2 laps, I know that I am a bit faster than him in that bus stop chicane and also in turn 1. And you will see that it is very important for me for the rest of this race, as I will be able to put pressure on him and to try some moves before the finish line. Something that I wanted also to talk about is the fact that obviously when you start to catch someone that's in front of you, and especially in that case, if it's the guy in P1 and you are in P2, don't try to pass him too quickly because you can lose time while fighting. What I would suggest is to be careful about the gap that you have to the guy in P3 in that case. And if the gap is still growing, maybe wait for a bit before you try to pass, because there's no point fighting before the very last moments when you will be sure that the guy will not be able to pass you again, or if obviously if he makes a mistake then you can get in front, but that's another story. Also another thing that I think is important is that when you are racing and you're in that position, for example P1, P2, P3, and you have a decent gap to the guys behind, or someone who tries to put pressure on you to overtake, you should not put yourself in a, like, if you are not very confident about your driving, you should not put yourself in a um, not failing state of mind. Like, your goal is not to fail, your goal is to succeed. Don't know if you guys understand that, but if you put your brain in, like, if you picture yourself failing, then it's more than likely that you will have issues. So here we caught very quickly on that straight, and it was a bit slow in turn one, so I just straightened the wheel and just went a bit wide to avoid contact, but that's all fine. At least we know that we can catch him, and there are still plenty of laps to do so, so it's all good. So yeah, I was saying, like, if you put your brain in a I have not to fail mode, then you are more likely to fail than if you put your brain in a I have to succeed mode. So just keep that in mind and try to always be in the positive mindset. After these first few laps, we have pulled a pretty decent gap to the guys that are behind, and I can also see that the guy in P1 is faster than the guy in P3. So we know that it's not very urgent to pass the guy in P1, as we are still pulling away from the other guys, and we have plenty of time to think about what we can do when we finally reach that guy and we can apply some pressure on him. We also need to assess our situation compared to P3 pretty much every lap, I would say. I would recommend watching the gaps with all the cars around you as much as you can, but not distract yourself from your driving while doing so. For example, usually there will be you will have the rankings in some corner of the screen with the gaps, and I suggest looking at that quite a lot, to be honest, but not too much, as it could distract you from some braking points or turning points. Here you can see P1 run a bit wide, so it allowed us to catch a bit and get back in slipstream. We know that we are faster and there are still a few laps to go, as it is a 9 laps race, 15 minutes, but that's 9 laps around that track. So we know that it is we still have a lot of possibilities to overtake, and not in a hurry at all. Just keep on analyzing the guy in P1 and driving as the best as you can, obviously. But for now, nothing much to say, because nothing much is happening. So just keep on focusing on what's in front, keep on monitoring the gap with the guys behind, and just be careful, obviously, not to do a mistake, but that's not what we are thinking about. We are thinking about getting in front. So for now, no issues at all. So here I can clearly see that with the slipstream after the bus stop chicane, I can catch a lot of time, can gain a lot of time compared to the guy that's in front. So that will be one of my main concern for the rest of the race. And I will try some different moves to see what works the best, because I want to know what will work and what won't work before the end of the race, because obviously the most important lap to lead is the last one. I mean, you don't even have to lead the last lap. The most important thing is to cross the finish line in first. So I want to see what will allow me to do so and what will not allow me to do so if I try some different moves. As I said, there are still a lot of overtaking opportunities to play with for now. So we are just trying to apply some pressure. As you will see, sometimes I will just lift on the throttle to not try any overtaking move, or maybe sometimes it's also good not to be too close to the guy in front, because it can apply a lot of pressure to him, and if he makes a mistake and collects you, then that's your race is over, and that's not what you want, obviously. So here you can clearly see that I am way faster than him in the bus stop. I just have to lift a bit there because of the dirty air, but otherwise I know that I'm way faster than him. Here there's a back marker, so just be careful, keep it in some corner of your head and just get on with it. This one was very nice and just put himself out of the racing line, so fair play to him. There, I thought it was time maybe to play a bit with the nerves of the guy, but I honestly didn't want to get in front. I had a friend on the voice chat during that race, and I told him I didn't want to pass there, but I ended up doing so because the guy was very careful, and fair play to him, obviously, because you don't want to crash your car. So that was a nice move, but I knew that it was not really what I needed, because now it was him with the slipstream and he could overtake me very easily on the long straights. And as I saw his driving style on the previous laps, I knew that in that corner he would take the inside line, so pretty much let the door open for him to get back in front. And that's pretty much at that time that I knew my plan and I knew what I wanted to do. So on the next big run to the finish line, I want to train myself, as maybe I can say, for the last lap, because obviously now that I know that if I pass on the first corner, he will be able to pass me again, as he's pretty aggressive in some of the corners. I know that what I need to do is to pass him just before the finish line, so he will not have any overtaking opportunities to pass me again. That's just logic. So there I will not pass, but I just want to see what the overspeed looks like, and like, can I reach him before the start finish line? Obviously there I see that I'm not close enough after the bus stop, so I will need to do a better corner on the last lap, but there are still 2 left, so that's all good. And now it's just a matter of following the car in front from as close as possible, because now that we reached the very end of the race, it's time to maybe apply a lot of pressure to force him into a mistake and maybe get a free spot, but usually that's not happening. Here we can see that the guy in front is doing good job at keeping his car on track and going fast around every lap. But as you can see on the dashboard of the car, our last lap was a 47.7. That's purely because of our battles. So as I said before, just monitor the gap to the guy in P3, because as soon as you will start to fight, you will lose a lot of time. That's about 1.2 to 1.5 seconds loss compared to the laps we were doing before we started to battle. So yeah, just be very careful about that. Here, as you would see, I will again try to train for the last lap, because obviously I want to be sure that I will be able to pass him. So I'm not staying in the slipstream for as long as I should, but that's not a problem because I don't want to pass. But even staying in the slipstream for not as long as I will do on the last lap, I see that I'm crossing the line pretty much at the same time as he does. So now I know what I have to do for the last bus stop chicane, and my only goal is to be strong in that corner. Obviously, I have not to make any mistakes before reaching that corner, but yeah, my goal is mainly to be very strong in that corner, to have good overspeed on him, to pass him before the finish line. There you will see he goes a bit wide on the exit, because obviously it's the last lap, so he's trying his best to get some distance to me, as he probably also saw what I did on the previous one, and he wants me to be as far as he can put me from him, because he doesn't want me to pass before the finish line because of the slipstream. But that's like, slipstream is starting at about 1.2 seconds, so that's a pretty long range. But if I'm not close enough, I will not have enough slipstream to pass him here. So focus on the bus stop, focus on the good exit, and there I will stay in the slipstream for as long as I can. Obviously I want to have a lot of overspeed to be able to pass, because I know he will block the inside, so I need even more speed compared to him. So there you will see me pull off the slipstream very late, and I try to stay on my line, don't want to squeeze him. He goes a bit low, but cannot stay in front, and we win the race. So I hope that you guys enjoyed that video, and that it will help you. Obviously, I wanted to explain a bit more what I'm doing during races. So what I said is basically everything that I think about during my races. This applies to iRacing, but also on every other game, every other racing game, basically. So you can also have the same mental process in every race that you take part. So hope that you enjoyed, and don't hesitate to like and subscribe to encourage me to do more of these videos, because I really like to do them, and I hope it will help you get good results in your next races. See you in the next one.